Magnus Carlsen, the greatest chess player of all time, has played all sorts of people. Lawyers, explorers, and even other world champions. And while he wins most of his games pretty easily, during a bar match in Oslo, Norway, an amateur player was determined to give him a run for his money. Magnus wasn't in the best shape at the time, having barely beaten Sergei Karyakin during the World Chess Championship. His recent performances were even criticized by other top players, such as Vladimir Kramnik.
I think that both of them, they played below the average level.
With a need for an impressive performance, the two players shake hands and the game begins. Magnus opens with white pawn e4. His opponent, who we'll call A, responds with the move pawn e5. The white knight moves to f3 while the black knight moves to c6. These moves develop into the Roy Lopez opening. The white bishop slides to b5 and the black knight goes to e7. Magnus moves his pawn to c3, which connects his pawn in a V shape. A advances his own pawn to a6. This causes Magnus to retreat his bishop to a4. A then moves another pawn forward to h6. Magnus's pawn moves to d4. A trade of pawns then occurs, which leads to a black knight g6. This move is considered a mistake, due to it allowing Magnus to control the center of the board after moving his knight to c3. A slides his bishop to b4. Magnus decides to castle in response. The black bishop moves again, capturing the knight on c3. Magnus takes back with his pawn and A castles. Magnus is in a very strong position with his pawns in the center of the board. This allows him to set up an attack with the white bishop moving to c2. This puts a lot of pressure on the g6 knight. Soon enough, the black bishop shifts to g4. This causes Magnus's queen to move over to e1. Magnus has a clear advantage and strength on the king side. This puts the bishop on g4 in imminent danger. The black knight jumps to d7. The f4 pawn advances to f5. The black knight moves to e5 to escape the danger. Magnus calmly advances his pawn to h3. The opposing bishop slides to h5. The white pawn advances to g4. This essentially allows Magnus to take a bishop for 2 pawns. After the trades, the f5 pawn moves to f6. This is certainly not the best move that could have been at the time, since queen g3 would have been more advantageous. The black queen moves up to e5. This threatens an immediate checkmate on h2. Magnus's bishop slides down to f4 to block this. However, it allows A to move his queen to h5. The opposing pawn captures on g7. The black rook moves over to e8 to avoid the pawn. White's queen shifts to g3. The black knight jumps to f6. All of a sudden, Magnus makes an awful move. He sends his knight to f5. This opens up A to take a free pawn and attack the queen. Magnus tries to recover with queen g4, but it turns out to be another blunder. With all momentum lost, Magnus resigns immediately. The two players shake hands with Magnus looking embarrassed. The crowd behind them celebrates as a beginner has just defeated Magnus Carlsen.